Well, thank you very much for the welcome, and thank you very much for having me here today. It's a real pleasure to be able to thank PICPA and the Director Parmesan for the invitation to visit this great nation of Fiji. The first time I've been here, which I have to admit as well. And also, it's been really interesting for me to attend this symposium in order to sign the Memorandum of Understanding between my office and PICPA. But it's also been a very interesting. I wish I'd come to a symposium like this 35 years ago when I first became a public servant, heading up various government departments, and my responsibilities have generally been in relation to government departments with legal responsibilities. And as I was sitting here listening to the use of government assets, I was just sort of thinking about the sort of response I would have got from a Chief Justice of a court if I'd suggested that perhaps they might like to lease their courts out over the weekend for concerts or for wedding receptions or something like that, because that's what you're really talking about here. Is you're talking about effective asset management, not in a narrow sense, but a very broad sense. So the first thing I thought of was how the High Court Chief Justice would have responded to such a suggestion. But I'm not ever going to make that suggestion, because I think that would go down like what we would say, like a bit like a lead balloon, if I did ever come up with that suggestion. Anyway, more seriously, we are very happy to be working with PICPA, and in fact I'm personally very excited about the great initiative which is really evidenced in this Memorandum of Understanding. Many of you might know that your ombuds people throughout the South Pacific, most of the countries represented here today, are members of what we call the Pacific Ombudsman Alliance, which is a very, it's a very happy bunch of people who are getting together and talking about the sort of problems that ombuds people and agencies who are responsible for maintenance of integrity in the public sector, we really need to get together, because they're fairly lonely jobs, in the same way as Auditors General sometimes feel a bit lonely, I suppose, when they're coming up with a suggestion that a government doesn't like or a public servant doesn't like. So I expect that this Memorandum of Understanding will build and support the alliances which we already have in the Pacific region, and the activities which we'll be able to generate will assist in the development of skills for integrity agencies officers in many Pacific countries. No doubt, and I'm expecting that this will have a flow on for public administration in general, including matters such as the procurement and management of government assets, which has been the topic of this symposium. Now, the signing of the MOU, which it's all ready to sign over there. I'm getting my hand ready to grab the pen and sign up the MOU. It's a wonderful opportunity for a practical partnership targeting integrity agencies in the region, and we are expecting to work on, first of all, developing a joint calendar of targeted evidence-based training activities for integrity agency officers, and also developing jointly badged research papers and guidelines and template documents. And I'm sure that this MOU will result in significant achievements over the next 2 years, and I'm looking forward to receiving myself regular updates about what's going on. I also look forward to our continued cooperation in the sphere of integrity and good public administration, and I commend Mr. Chand and his staff at PICPA, who I might say I've noticed doing a tremendous job today. You're obviously in uniform, so I've noticed all the running around and all the wonderful things which have been done. And my office's international team also has been, and I'm most grateful to them as well for developing the MOU. The other thing which occurred to me as I was listening today was the importance of developing better working relationships with many of the people here today who are responsible within Auditor General's offices, because I think there's a real opportunity for cooperation between ombuds people and Auditors General as well. So I think that's something that we'll also need to explore within the framework of the MOU, but also as a result of the really good working relationships which we have with many of the Auditors General officers as well as the Ombudsman officers into the future. So thank you very much for having me. You've really stimulated my interest in asset management. When I go back to the Ombudsman's office in Australia, I'll be asking all sorts of questions about leases and use of assets and all the rest of it. It's really given me a lot to think about, as well as, of course, signing this really important, as far as I'm concerned, Memorandum of Understanding with PICPA. Thank you very much for having me.